see a title at the top that says the discriminant and the quadratic formula. Now, we're not going to do the quadratic formula until the next lesson, but we're going to do part of the quadratic formula, which is called the discriminant. Okay, so this is just like one piece of the quadratic formula. So the discriminant helps you determine how many solutions you have. So remember those words again: x-intercepts, roots, zeros. Okay, they all mean, solutions, solve, all of that's the same. So basically what you're going to do, and you might want to circle this because this is what you're going to use to determine what that number is. So we already know when we have our quadratic equations in standard form, the a squared is the x squared term is a, the x term is b, and so that's where all of this a, b, and c stuff right here is referring to the coefficients to these numbers here. Okay, so when you do that, if that number comes out and is positive or it's greater than 0, or you can say positive, then that means you have two real solutions, or two roots, or two x-intercepts. And so that means that the parabola will be crossing the x-axis at 2 points. Okay, so we can actually determine the x-intercepts without having to graph. Okay, if you do the b squared minus 4ac and it comes out and it equals to 0, that means you have one real solution, or one root, or 1 0, or one x-intercept, and it'll look something like this, where the vertex is right there touching the x-axis. So that's how you can have one x-intercept. And then if that b squared minus 4ac comes out to be negative, then that means you have what we call no real solutions, or simply is not touching the x-axis at all. Okay, so that's what these numbers will allow you to be able to determine without having to graph. So go to page 14, because like I said, we're not going to do the quadratic formula today, but we are going to do a little piece of the quadratic formula, which is called the discriminant. So you're going to first, this is problem number 89. It says identify A, B, and C. So we know how to do that. So we're going to say A equals -9, B equals +4, and C equals -3. So that -3 means -3. So now we need to determine the discriminant. So the discriminant is this piece right here, b squared minus 4ac. So that's the discriminant. So when anytime you see that word, you know that's b squared minus 4ac. So now you're just going to take these values that you have identified as a, b, and c, and you must use parentheses. So you're going to now, the b term is 4, so we're going to say parentheses 4 squared, we're just following this, minus 4 times the a term in parentheses -9, times the c term in parentheses -3. You must use parentheses, guys, even for this b squared term. Okay, everything must be, all the substitutions must be in parentheses. So now, take your calculators. I'm not going to do this. So on your calculator, just go to a blank screen on the calculator and type in the parentheses and put in 4 squared minus 4 times, in parentheses, -9, in parentheses, -3. Okay, it's a must that you use parentheses to get the right answer. Okay, tell me what that answer is. All right, if it's -92, according to page 11, did everybody get -92? Okay, if it's negative, that means what? You had 3 different situations. Would it be 2 solutions, 1 solution, or no real solution? No real solution, and that's all you're right. Okay, we're not doing anything else with the information. We're just determining how many solutions, which means if you would actually graph this, and you could punch it in if you like, if you would actually graph this, you will see that this parabola will not touch the axis. That's what no real solution means, okay? All right, let's do number 90. Okay, so in number 90, I'm going to identify A, B, and C. So I'm going to say A equals -2, B equals -5, and C equals to 7. So B squared minus 4AC. So my B term is -5, so I'm going to say -5 squared minus 4 in parentheses -2 and parentheses C, which is 7. Okay, so type that in, see what you get, and let me know what you have as an answer. Anybody? How much? 81, so that's a positive answer. So I have 2 real solutions. Okay, you don't need to determine what they are, you're just determining how many you would have. Okay. Now keep in mind, let's just say this let's look at 91, and let's say this said equals to 6. What did you think you would have to do first? You would have to set it equal to what? 0. So always check to first to make sure it's equal to 0 before you do it. So let's do 91. Okay, everybody work on 91. So A equals -6, B equals 1, C equals -7. So I'll have 1 squared minus 4 times, in parentheses, -6, and parentheses, -7. Okay, if somebody could give me an answer for that. Okay, all right, so -167. So what does that mean? No real solutions. Okay. All right, now let's look at 94, because notice how 94 does not have a C term. Okay, so let's look at number 94. So my A term is 9. My B term is -3. So my C term will be 0. Okay, so when I do B squared minus 4AC, okay, I'm going to have -3 squared minus 4 times 9 times 0. So I know this is just going to be 0 anyway, because anything times 0 is 0. So my answer is just going to be a +9. And of course, that will give you 2 real solutions.